Hello everyone and welcome back to our channel. Today we have a special guest. I have the honor of interviewing YouTuber Chris, who's known for covering the latest Bitcoin price on his channel MMCrypto. And so of course we're going to discuss the latest Bitcoin price, where it's at right now, and what we can expect from the halving, which will take place in only a few hours. And then we're also going to get some price predictions in, and we'll dive into the global financial market situation, so economics and blockchain beyond just Bitcoin. So stay tuned and keep watching. Hi Chris, and thank you for joining us this morning. I'm really excited for this. People in the crypto space, and especially Bitcoin enthusiasts, probably already know who you are from your channel MMCrypto. But since I would say our community is also partially coming from the mainstream social media space and is new to the whole crypto space, so can you just give us a brief introduction of yourself, who you are, and how you got interested in Bitcoin?
Yeah, I'm Chris from MMCrypto. You can find us on YouTube, Telegram, and all these social media channels. But the most important thing is YouTube, of course. We make a video every single day on the English channel, on the German channel. And yeah, we talk about Bitcoin, macroeconomics, monetary policy, the financial markets, the financial system itself, and how Bitcoin is the perfect scapegoat in times like this. So yeah, I studied economics back in the days. Then in my second studies, I just dropped out because I saw everything starts crumbling down. I saw the bad fundamentals, and I found Bitcoin, and I fell into that rabbit hole, opened the channel with some friends, and just started pushing content to the people, and they like it. I'm excited to be here today. It's like 80 blocks left until the halving. It's great timing for this interview, so I'm really looking forward to it.
Yes, really great. And so talking about Bitcoin now, the last few days have been absolutely nerve-wracking, I would say, for those who've been following the BTC price. We got close to the 10K mark and tested the resistance there. Bitcoin was on a whole bullish run, but then things took a turn, and the BTC price actually dropped to below 8,500 within the last, I would say, 2 days. And so I know this dump was sort of expected, which I also talked about in our last video, considering that the miners before the halving will probably dump a lot of the coins, and so that could be a reason for that. But yeah, that was quite a significant change here. So Chris, where's your mind at right now? Have we reached the bottom, or is it right now a good time to buy in? What can we expect from the halving?
Mm-hmm. So yeah, that there is a dump in and of itself, that was to be expected. However, I was surprised by the magnitude of the dump, and also how quick it was happening, like 15 minutes, $1,500. Yeah. That was pretty crazy. I did not expect that. However, for me, it's not a problem at all, because usually I'm only zooming out, and especially on the shorter time frames, it's impossible right now to predict the market. So if you ask me for a price prediction right now in the short term, it could be 6,000 next month, it could be 14,000. It's really impossible. But zooming out for this year, I'm extremely bullish. I'm still looking forward to price targets of 14,000 for this year. But the road until there, it will be very bumpy, and we will see a lot of ups and downs. Yeah, regarding the halving, I think this is a very, very bullish event for the long term. In the shorter time frames, it shakes up the market, because yeah, the miners are not that profitable anymore, at least in the short term. The difficulty rate needs a little bit time to adjust. So yeah, probably we saw some minor pre-halving dumps. And yeah, but all of this, Bitcoin is a self-regulating mechanism. So all of this will level out at least within the next 2 weeks, when the difficulty gets adjusted and everyone stops freaking out. And so I'm very, very calm here, especially when I'm zooming out a little bit. Another very great news recently was this Paul Tudor Jones, the billionaire, actually joining crypto. He will give an interview on CNBC today, talking about today being Monday, the day of the halving. And people like him joining the space and talking about that openly is extremely bullish, not only because, of course, he is creating some selling pressure, but also very high net people are following him, and other hedge funds, he is running a hedge fund, will probably get some FOMO as well. So the last days, especially also considering the dump, they made me even more bullish on Bitcoin. So if you are not in Bitcoin, it's no financial advice, but you might as well consider scaling into the market or dollar cost averaging in.
Awesome. Yeah, I think, you guys have heard it now from an expert also. I think a lot of people have always this fear of, is it too late to join this whole Bitcoin space? Because of course they heard there was this bullish run in like 2017, so is it over? But yeah, as you said, if we zoom out and look at the bigger picture, things are just getting started. And so just for one last prediction, because what we've heard from Tim Draper was that the price of Bitcoin will go up to 250,000 until the year of 2023. So do you have like a price prediction in mind for let's say in 3 to 5 years time?
I could agree to that. 250K seems very reasonable to me. Let's just consider today's money, today's purchasing power, because especially with the actions the Federal Reserve and other central banks like the ECB, European Central Bank, the People's Bank of China, and all these central banks out there are taking, they are inflating the fiat currency supply, and that's why they are actually stealing the purchasing power of the people. So things like gold or Bitcoin will be inflated, and the prices will rise over proportionally. So if we just take the today's purchasing power in mind, I think 250,000 in today's money is very reasonable. It could be 150, it could be 400,000, which would, by the way, equal the gold market cap. And but this is not the end of the road. I'm looking forward to much higher prices even in like 10, 15 years. It really depends on how fast the people will lose their trust in fiat currencies and how fast the deflationary period, which is about to come, will go over into a hyperinflationary or hyperinflationary period. So I would agree to 250,000, the 250,000 prediction of Tim Draper as being the middle range of my own prediction, between 150 and up to 400,000 US dollars, which is the gold market cap.
Okay, yeah, I think that makes total sense, and I agree that, especially for those who aren't professional traders, which most of us aren't, we should just keep our focus on the long-term effect also of the halving and the effect it will have on the price. And I mentioned this in our last video as well, is that in order for us to experience a 2017-like bull run, what we need is not only less supply, which is what the halving tomorrow will bring. It will cut the inflation of Bitcoin in half, it'll double the stock to flow ratio, but what we need as well is an increasing demand from old as well as from new investors. And so I think we are now sort of reaching new heights and levels of awareness and acceptance. So this year could be a really interesting year where we see things moving more towards mass adoption, and the curve of blockchain mass adoption and crypto mass adoption will catch up to the hype. So what do you think about that? When will the blockchain, I guess, mass adoption curve and the real utility behind this technology in the crypto space catch up with the crypto hype or Bitcoin hype?
Yeah. You brought up some very good points. I think the main application for Bitcoin is money, for blockchain is money, but of course there are many other use cases which are legit as well. First of all, I really wanted to mention that you brought up a very good point that not only supply, because the future inflation is being cut in half, not only supply is important, we also need demand, of course, because price is always determined in a game between supply and demand. So the supply is already perfectly played. I mean, we have a hard-coded 21 million maximum supply for Bitcoin, and all what is left for us to keep the price driving forward is the demand, because the supply should be already priced in. So for this, I think we really need people to lose their trust into fiat currency. We need people to rush into Bitcoin, to FOMO into Bitcoin, to secure their wealth. And once everyone is really holding Bitcoin, we will also get the necessity of developers pushing the Lightning Network forward and all of these things which we actually need to get the mainstream onboarded. And once we see that, once we see a vast majority of people in the world holding Bitcoin, and then also developers pushing things like the Lightning Network more, I think that will be the point of time when we will have reached the mainstream. Because if you are using the internet right now, you're opening the browser, you don't know that there's the TCP IP in the background. Right now, if you want to use Bitcoin, you are opening your ledger, and everything is still kind of complicated, at least for our grandmothers or our mothers. Yesterday was Mother's Day, so big regards here to all the mothers out there. So we really need the time when we are opening like whatever our browser, and we are using Bitcoin without even knowing that there's the blockchain behind. And I think that would be a very good point of time, leaving the price now out of the game, where we can say, okay, this is the mainstream adoption.
Yeah, totally. I mean, this is also what we're trying to achieve with Appics here, with our team, is what we're working towards, and but that's what my whole focus is as well. Just making sure that we get real use cases that solve real world problems. But I mean, right now, I think is a really interesting time because we're seeing this issue right now happen globally with the whole pandemic and things. And also just in general, people can't withdraw their funds. The unemployment rate is just skyrocketing. So we're really in need of alternative solutions, I would say. And so what do you think, what part, if any, does this global pandemic right now and this whole situation everyone is in, what role does it play in terms of the progression of the crypto market and also the overall financial market, I would say?
In the short run, it's not all too beneficial because you can still see some kind of positive correlation between the Bitcoin price and the financial markets. And of course, the financial markets are a delayed function of the economy, and the economy is probably doing very bad when everything is on a lockdown. So if you are going from that causality chain, then of course the coronavirus, it brings the economy down. The economy brings the financial markets down. I mean, right now they're dead cat bouncing because of all the actions of the Federal Reserve, but in the long run, the financial markets will crumble as well. And we can only hope for Bitcoin to decouple from the financial markets. In the very long run, however, I think it will be very good because this whole pandemic, either it's a pandemic or a plandemic, I don't know what to believe in right now because of all these. I'm not really watching mainstream media right now, so I will not judge on this in this episode today. Mm-hmm. But all of this, when it starts, when the people start realizing that they have to secure your wealth somewhere else than in zombie banks or in zombie companies, which have like a PE ratio of 400, so price to earnings, market cap to earnings, that everything is so overvalued right now and propped up by debt, they will have to find a scapegoat which is not artificially inflatable. So if you can pull something good from this virus, then I think it will open the eyes of the peoples much faster, and it will bring them to Bitcoin much faster than without a crisis like this. So this is my hope, and this is the positive things I'm trying to take away from this mania here.
Yeah, thank you. I guess, and I totally agree. That's kind of what we're all taking away from this, just to stay hopeful. But in terms of, because there's a lot of fear right now with people in terms of what the future holds. So if you could give an investment strategy right now in terms of securing savings and get through this economic recession, if we can call it that. Some say gold, others say real estate, Bitcoin. So what's the safe haven? What do you think? Is it just one thing, or should you have your assets in different?
Yeah, it really depends on the type of person you are. Me personally, back in the days when I realized it, I just put everything into Bitcoin because I was able to bear the risk. I was fine with losing everything. For other people who have a risk tolerance which is much lower than mine, which is very likely for probably the vast majority of the population, I would not say go all in immediately, especially not all in Bitcoin. I think another good alternative could be gold. And if you really think that things will be crumbling down, which is actually a very realistic possibility, you should be buying these very small coins of gold, so you can go out there and buy groceries with that when really everything goes completely bad. But if you are not on the very pessimistic side, I would say you could also try with real estate. But especially now, if the crisis is going to happen, I truly believe so. I don't think that they can push the can down the road another 10-15 years. If the crisis is going to happen, actually, fiat for the very short term is not bad, because in a crisis like this, if it's a depression, if it's a financial crisis, prices usually tend to deflate, and they tend to deflate towards fiat currencies. And if you're holding fiat currencies, you get more assets, more value for your dollar in the very short term. However, if you're sitting on your bunch of cash for longer than the next year or 1.5 years, you might see a significant loss in purchasing power, and you will be one of the biggest losers out of this crisis. This is my own personal prediction. So I do not try to outperform the market. I do not try to say, okay, the financial crisis is going to start next month, in 6 months or 12 months. or it's going to continue. Right now we see this dead cat bounce. I go the safe way. I hold everything in Bitcoin. You can also do gold, of course, silver, and I do not try to outperform the market in the very shorter time frames. I really hold Bitcoin, and I know for sure if I'm holding Bitcoin, let it be for you gold and Bitcoin, then you are for sure, for 100% certainty there if the big moonshot comes. And if you really try with your whole portfolio to wait for the crisis and to wait for lower Bitcoin prices or whatever to scale into the markets, you will be missing out for sure, because it's very, very hard to outperform the markets. The market is designed to take the most amount of people from the most amount of money, the most amount of money from the most amount of people most of the time. So you will be for sure on the losing side if you try to do that. If you want to go a very safe way, not going all in or not waiting until the financial crisis starts to happen and to catch also lower Bitcoin prices potentially, you should start dollar cost averaging in. And this is a very safe way how you can get the dollar cost average price of Bitcoin over the next 12 months, for example. Let's say you have $1,200. 12 months, you put in $100 every month or $25 every week, and then you get your dollar cost average for Bitcoin. And going back into the past, if you look at all the stock prices, if you look at the price of gold, of Bitcoin, of whatever, dollar cost averaging, zooming out in the long run, was always a very good strategy. It was not maximizing your profits, but it was putting your risk to reward ratio to a very, very pleasant ratio. So this could be one advice.
Yeah, I think that's a great investment strategy, way to go about it for many people. Now, I do have to ask you, since your audience is quite focused on Bitcoin and you're very bullish on Bitcoin, but are there any altcoins that you're keeping an eye on as well?
Yeah, right now, investment-wise, I'm waiting for altcoin investments until Bitcoin reaches the new all-time high. This is my own personal strategy. It's based on the history. I think once we reach the all-time high, or we come close to the all-time high, which is 19,700, back in the days, we always saw a big spike in Google Trends. We always saw the crowd joining. And of course, we know the crowd is usually the kind of investors which inflate the altcoin prices. So I would try to front run that. However, right now, I'm still holding altcoins. I'm holding a big bunch of Ethereum, and also I'm holding some Monero. Usually I'm looking out for public permissionless proof of work blockchains. And I know Ethereum will be proof of stake, and I still like Ethereum because there's so much brain juice of developers going into that project, and they gained a lot of network effect. So these are the projects I'm keeping an eye on, and once we reach the new all-time high, I will for sure also keep an eye on some other altcoin projects, but this will be more in terms of return on investment. A very long-term holding strategy for me applies only to Bitcoin.
Okay, well, great. Thank you so much for that. Just quickly, if you have like a minute or two left, on another note, we've seen that the YouTube purge is really getting to new heights. So last time we spoke, YouTube was banning channels, and you even got a warning with yours. But now, just this week, the news are that YouTube has been shadow banning Bitcoin-related content, especially targeting that. And to be honest, when I was searching for your channel to see if you spoke on this topic, and I typed something like MMCrypto YouTube shadow ban, and nothing came up. And then I thought, that's strange. And I went to your channel and saw that you actually did post a video, but it didn't show when I searched for it. So can you just speak on that? Is it an attack from YouTube against the crypto community, or is it algorithms? What are your thoughts on this?
So yeah, first of all, for sure, there was a shadow ban going on. We have proof from our YouTube backend and all of our YouTube friends. They all had the same issue, at least the biggest ones. All of them were shadow banned. Now the question is, of course, was that on purpose or was it an accident? Yeah. I cannot really tell. There's not really proof for that. It's a big problem with the shadow bans. It's very hard to prove, but for sure there was a shadow ban going on. Now the question is, was it on purpose or not? Well, we talked about that with Forbes, and we talked to Forbes also in that article that we think there's a possibility that this was on purpose, but of course it's also a possibility that it was just an algorithm mistake and that they are trying to track down the live streams. But it really seems a little bit weird that especially during these very crucial times, these shadow bans or YouTube purges are happening. If we are looking back in time, now it's directly before the halving. The last two times it was really at these price valleys before Bitcoin rose to new heights. So of course you can bring up a lot of conspiracy theories about these shadow bans, whether it is on purpose or not. But one thing is for sure, we have to decentralize our audience. We have to search for alternatives. Right now, YouTube is the go-to place. YouTube is the place to reach critical masses. But I truly hope that in the future, we will see things like Steemit, or I have to look into your platform as well, evolving and providing alternatives for influencers like us to reach out to critical masses as well. So I would really love to see that, because a decentralized audience is just as important as decentralizing your money, because this is the only way that you are not only unconfiscatable, but also uncensorable. And that's why we are here for.
Yeah, awesome. I'm glad you share this this viewpoint and this perspective with me, because this is really my topic. You know, this is what we're working on at Team Appics, and we've seen it so clear that we need alternative platforms like London Real, for example. They're now planning on doing their own blockchain-based platform, but we really started with this in 2017, which was when these issues of censorship, unfair payouts, intrusive algorithms, and all these things like ads were already present, but it's really gotten worse. And so that's where my focus is, and I think we are now getting towards that, to these solutions that are fixing the issues that are going on with these centralized platforms. So my last question, of course, blockchain beyond Bitcoin related, in the evolution of technology, do you think that decentralized platforms like Appics, but also other decentralized applications could replace our current ones? And adding to that, just how do you envision blockchain technology changing our economy and society? Are we moving generally towards decentralization, which you just touched on?
Generally, I would say yes, but it will be very small steps. I think these platforms truly have a future, because there will be a need, there will be the desire from the point of the influencers, but also from the point of the viewers, because they want to find information which is uncensored and where the people can just express their opinions just as they are, without thinking about any rules or laws preventing them from telling what they want to say. So whenever there is a desire, there will be a solution provided by people in a nice capitalistic world. So I really think that these solutions, as they are already in existence, will reach the mainstream. However, it might be small steps, but everything evolves in small steps. And so I truly believe that this is already happening, and we will see that coming in the future. And I can't wait for this day to finally come.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time, for letting me pick your brain, sharing so much valuable insight. And guys, Appics family, make sure you follow MMCrypto on YouTube, on Twitter. I'll link everything in this video, and then also soon on Appics. I'm hopeful. Any last words?
Yeah, thanks for having me. It was a great time talking to you, especially now, like, I don't know, 78 blocks before the halving.
Yes.
I can't wait to see that happening in a few hours. So I hope everyone watching is looking forward to that as well. It's a very fundamental event for Bitcoin. It will be very bullish in the long run, because we see less dumping pressure. We see Bitcoin being more scarce and all of that. So it's a great time to be alive. Thanks for having me. I wish you all the best for your project, and looking forward to talking to you as soon as possible.
Yes, thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Bye. I hope you enjoyed this interview. If you liked today's video, please give it a thumbs up, comment down below your thoughts or any questions that you may have. And of course, as always, turn on your post notifications so that you get a notification once we upload another video. And then finally, check the link in our description below, which is the first link, our link tree, where you can find all the different links that you need to either join the Appics platform if you're not a part of the community already. You can also join our Telegram chat, speak to our admins or the entire community. And of course, we also have linked our shop where you can find the hottest crypto merch in the game. Thank you so much for tuning in. As always, have a beautiful day, and I will see you in the next video or on Appics.